What's good, YouTube? This your boy Sip King, back with another video. On this video, I want to talk about cities banging against cities for urban supremacy. Again, cities banging against cities for urban supremacy. And that's a huge topic. Like, not too many people talk about that, but it's a big thing going on. Especially in the South, like Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Tennessee, Georgia too. But specifically in my state, Mississippi, it's like I'm from the northeast part of the state, right? And they call the part of my state the GTA. You know what I mean? And when it comes down to geographics in the state, you have a lot of the guys from different cities, urban cities, like Greenville, Greenwood, the Delta, Vicksburg, the coast, Jackson. But really, the part of the state that I'm from, don't guys get along better with guys from the Delta, from my understanding. But from my experience, I noticed that too, because I be around guys from the Delta. I get along better with guys from the Delta. But when it comes down to guys like in other places, other parts of the state, they dislike guys from my city and the surrounding cities around my hometown. And it goes on in the streets. It goes on in the penitentiary. It's worse in the penitentiary because there's a lot of fights and bangings that take place. Like some prisons in some states, you have cities that ride together, against other cities. It's not gang related. And then in some cases, it do be gang related. In some cases, it be people from the same organizational gang that fight against the same people that claim the same thing they claim in another city. And it be a lot of fights like that. Like you have guys from the same clique fighting guys from the same clique that's from another city. Or better yet, gang. That happens all the time. It happens a lot in Mississippi. It happens a lot in Alabama. It happens a lot in Georgia. Then you have Tennessee and you have Louisiana. You have guys that claim the same thing, fight people from other cities that claim the same thing that they claim. But like I said, in some cases, it's not gang related. It's just a city thing, And that shit is historical, going all the way back to the 70s. You know what I'm saying? When they wore the Kango hats with a two-piece suit with the suit and tie with the Stacey Adams. You understand me? It happened up in the Midwest too, back in the days. Like, you had cities fight against cities. You had guys from other cities dislike other guys from other cities. And it's a lot of guys from other places that don't like my brothers from my hometown. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when I be in other places and they ask me like, oh, you from Mississippi? What part of Mississippi you from? Sometimes I be skeptical, like, should I tell this guy or these guys or not? Because in some cases, it be situations where you can be from a certain city in your state and you happen to be in another part of your state visiting a family member, or you just kicking at the casino or something, or you go to a club or something of that nature, and then you bump into some guys and they peep you out and they ask you that question like, oh, you from Mississippi, homie? Or what part of the state you from? Where you from? And then you name that city, and then all of a sudden they jump on you. You know what I'm saying? Guys have been jumped that was in another city within that state, the same state they live in. Like, guys have been jumped. Guys have been unalive like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's something I never understood. Like, I never understood why guys be beefing with guys from the same state where they are from, just because they live or came from another city within that state. Like, you have cities beefing with cities. A lot of times that shit be about reputation, clout, that supremacy thing, where they want to be looked at as the hardest, toughest city in that state. Like, you have certain cities in a state that fight for their rep. That I'm talking about that national reputation, because you have cities in every state that have a reputation, an urban gangstified reputation. For example, Little Rock, Arkansas has a gangstified urban reputation. Then you have Memphis, Tennessee. They have a urban gangstified reputation. They are looked at as the hardest city in that state. Then you have New Orleans in Louisiana. Like, New Orleans is looked at as the hardest, most gangstified hood city in that state. And you have a lot of times when cities like that have a reputation, you have other cities in that state, they hate on that and they try to fight for that supremacy. You know what I'm saying? Just like in Mississippi, like, in my eyes, from my point of view, I feel like nobody's the hardest city in Mississippi. Really, everybody is neck to neck, really. But Jackson, Mississippi is looked at as the hardest, most gangstified city in our state. But the thing is, you have guys from other parts of the state, they dislike that. They don't want to be put in last place. See, you have guys from other cities that refuse to accept being in last place. Nobody, that's in anything in life. Nobody wants to be put in last place. Everybody wants to be in first place. Everybody want to be looked at as the toughest, hardest city, most gangstified city. That's the thought process of these urban guys in these multiple cities and counties in these states. That's how they look at it. That's why you have so many bangings and you have so many unalivings from outsiders that come to a city, or you know outsiders that come into a city and they try to shine. So the guys from the city, that they feel some type of way, like, they don't want to get shined on, so they're gonna do what they gotta do to put a stop to that. Because it has been situations where guys from other cities came to my hometown and try to run some shit, and my homeboys, my brothers that I know, my homeboys that I really know like that, they ran them up out of there. You know what I'm saying? And them facts, I know this. You know what I mean? I know this. I stay tuned in. I know what be going on. That's why I'm speaking on it. I done seen this firsthand myself too. Back when I was younger, I seen how my homeboys from my hometown, that wasn't going. Like, anybody that came in that joint from another city, they ran them up out of there with the quickness. Wow, no talking, no question asked. You know what I mean? And I verified this because I'm saying it on my platform. Like, I know this. It's a couple times I've seen this firsthand with my own two eyes. I remember being at a nightclub one time back in the day. It's a hood in my city called Sandfield, and it used to be a club over there by the railroad track. And this happened back in the late 90s. And I remember some guys from out of town came to the club, and this while I was young, and they came there trying to shine. And I ain't gonna explain everything that happened, but something was said. So all my homeboys from my city, I ain't gonna say all my homeboys, but some of my homeboys, some of my cousin homeboys, they jumped on them, stomped them down, ran them to their car. They got in the car. When they got in the car, they still swinging on them. Made them got the fuck on. You know what I'm saying? That part. I don't verify this. This happened in the 90s, homie. And like, it still go on today. You know what I mean? It still go on today. You know what I mean? So that's why you have to be careful. Like, I'm not saying be no coward, don't be no weak link or weak nigga, but just be aware and cautious of what's going on with your city, with the guys in your city and guys in other cities, and make sure that it ain't no beef going on, or major beef, or make sure that the signal light is not red. Because if the signal light is red, then that's a red flag. You don't need to be put into that situation. You don't need to be in that certain place. You have to fall back sometime and let shit die down, cool down. Because if you jump into the fire while the fire is burning, you're gonna get burnt. You understand me? Especially in this urban city versus city situation, because that shit alone is nothing to play with. And this go on everywhere. This go on everywhere in every state, man. But it's just not talked about. It's not talked about on YouTube. It's not talked about on nobody podcast. It's not even talked about on the news. You know what I mean? This is some urban shit that I'm talking about right here. I'm bringing it to the forefront because this been going on for years. Like, it's 2 other cities in my county back at home that been beefing with each other since the 50s, since my grandfather's time. And them 2 cities is called Crawford, Mississippi and Artesia, Mississippi. Artesia and Crawford been banging against each other since back in the fucking day, since my granddad was walking the streets. You understand me? Yeah, that part. See, nobody talks about that, but like I said, I'm bringing that to the forefront. So, cause it needs to be talked about, you know what I'm saying? You know, because it'll never stop, honestly, because it's all about reputation. It's all about clout. It's all about supremacy. Like, every city in the state wants to be placed in that position of supremacy. Every city wants to be called or looked at as the hardest city within that state. That's why you have these situations going on. Nobody, no city and no state wants to be looked at as a weak link. I promise you that. But anyway, if you like this video, hit the like and subscribe button, man. And I'm going to end this video and I'm out. Peace.